Welcome back to Be As Good As You Can. And today we're going to talk about identification. I have made the videos in two parts, and the simple reason for that is that your brain is quite lazy, and especially your brain don't want it to be too boring. So you can say, even if there is no exactly how you are learning, you can say that it's quite good to be intensive for a short period and then take a break. But don't remember, your brain is unique, like everybody else. You have a totally unique brain, your own brain. So if you are not tired or you're not bored, just go to video number 2 directly. Let's start. What is identification? Identification is quite easy. Identification is a way where we compare ourselves with other people. And the reason is that if we don't compare ourselves with other people, we will never understand who we are. So if I am a father, I have had a father, and I have seen a lot of other fathers. So I know how a father will act. So I will copy and I will take after that. And that means that I can be a father, and then I can identify myself as a father. And other people can identify myself as a father as I do like them. So it's so easy. But I want to divide it in two pieces. One is that you can be a stereotype. And a stereotype is that you are a fixed and oversimplified image of yourself. And the other is that you can be a chameleon. That means that you can change your identity depending on the situation. And you do both, but you can do it more like you have decided, I want to do it or I want not to do it. I suppose you have heard many times that people say, but it's just to be yourself. There is no problem when it comes to identity. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be yourself? I should like to take myself as an example, if that's okay for you. And when I was a child, you can see that on the picture here. I did look like that. And I was a little bit like an angel. And I was singing in the church, and yes, I did look like that. I was a little angel. And after that, when I did come a little older, 10, 11 years old, I started to be fantasizing child. I did have a lot of dreams and fantasies about the future and things like that. So much that I even didn't know when I was born. After that, it did come back to long hair again, but this time not as an angel, more like a little devil. Especially for the teachers in the school. I was like a little devil. That means that I was refused from the school for 1 year, and I did go and practice to be a blacksmith. And after that, I did go to one more school, and I did have my first work as a repairman in a sawmill. And I can say that I really didn't like my job. After that, I did have a summer campus work where I could work with children, and I did really love my job. That means that I did understand that this is maybe the path I should take in the future. In the same time, when I did start to go to universities, they did recruit me to the military forces. And they did take me out as a platoon commander student. But I did understand quite quick that the simple reason to be there was that I should just follow order and do exactly what people did tell me, not to think yourself. I refused, say, no, this is nothing for me. I have to study a little bit extra to get into the university, and I did take some courses in the university. I was also quite good as a football player, and that means that after a while, in the end of my career as a football player, I did get an offer from a smaller club, and in the same time they say, if you come to us, we will give you a job at the social sector and you can work with children and with what you like, what you love to do. So I did have the opportunity to start a home for children without parents. I did have the opportunity to plan for pets, plan for a way for youngs to study. And I must say this was amazing for me. If I then make a little jump, I look in my computer here, that when I make a little jump, I did be a principal for schools. I did have a work as an organizer for schools in the region where I was living. I, after that, have started a company where, together with my wife, where I'm living now in Catalonia for learning, and we have a small school. I think that I like to, anyway, to be a writer and to plan, and like I do now, make videos for learning about what I think is the most important, how we are thinking, and how learning is connected to how we are thinking. I am a pensioner, so I am a pensioner too. So now we come to the most important question to put. Who am I? Who am I? Am I an angel, a dreamer, a rebel, entrepreneur, social worker, teacher, principal, business owner, pensioner, writer? Or then I to this can put, what is my attitude as a person? Am I stubborn? Am I a humanist? And there is a lot of things. So you can see that you have enormous with things in your backpack that you can say, this is my identification. So it's not just a few things. It's enormous with things. And of course you can choose them. So if I meet, for example, a friend that is a football player, I will be an ex-football player, because we have something in common and he will identify me in the same way. But you must be aware of that when you meet people, they're going to identify you as something that they have in their knowledge. That means that they're going to identify you after how you are walking, how you are looking, how you are talking, and hopefully you look like somebody that they did like very much. That means that then they will have a very positive look of you as a person. But then you maybe can say, how can you say that, for example, you're a blacksmith? Isn't it any timeline for this? Yes, I think that is the way we have been thinking for many years. That is, that you put the seed and then the seed will grow, and then it grows a little bit more like to a plant, and then the plant will grow up to a tree. And that is a little bit like a life. Your whole life is from a plant to a tree. And many times we think that this is one identification we have there. No, it's enormous with identifications, enormous with changes. I will take one example that I like very much. That is, if you take a football player that is the best in the world, how did he be the best in the world? How long time did that take? Did it take 90 minutes? Then maybe you tell me that, but it has been a long trip for you. He has been training a lot. He has doing a lot. Yes, but the identification to be the best in the world is 90 minutes, nothing more. So how you value the time is up to you. You can decide. Okay, I can decide to be a writer. Say, I haven't written for so long time. I love it. So I can say, I'm a writer. Okay, but what we must know, and it's very important, that I did say before, your brain is lazy. Your brain wants to have it easy. And for many years ago, they did start to talk about humans and identification. And then they start to identify us as the soil, the earth, the fire, the sun, the wind, and the water. 4 things. And they say, sure, this is you as a person. And today it starts to be very popular. And it's you have a lot of famous books that they say that we are red, yellow, green, or blue. So then you can say, you are a red person, or you're a green person, or you're a yellow person, or a blue person. And if you're a red person, it's quite easy to understand. How do you know that you're red? Red is, of course, a fire, the sun, the heat. And then you say, what is that to be red? That is to be outgoing, to be strong, intensive, know what's right, be a type of a leader, to be a problem solver, to be curious. And if you are green, you will be social, friendly, kind, helpful, loyal, a good friend, easy to deal with. And if you are yellow, you will be verbal, spontaneous, sensitive, inspiring, happy, optimistic, innovative, creative, positive. And if you are blue, you're going to be logic. Don't say yes to everything people ask you for. You will be careful, you will be thoughtful, you will be methodical, you will follow the rules, and so on. So I can ask you, where do you put the professor? Where do you put the business leader? Where do you put the teenager? And where do you put the mother? Quite easy, isn't it? And it's easy to identify you to do that, but there is a big risk, and it's very easy to fall in that trap. Because one thing you must be aware of is that you have a little bit of all these things, all these colors. Maybe you have a little bit more of one, a little bit less of another, but you have something of everything. And of course, you can change that. If you want to be more methodic, you can train to be more methodic. If you want to be more happy, you can start to be more happy. It's possible to do that because you are a human. So you can decide. And you don't need to fall into that trap, especially not if you start to be a chameleon. To identify yourself is very close connected to feelings. I will give you an example that I think is interesting when it comes to identification. That is, when people go to conferences, many times they start with exercises that is connected to identification. And it's very popular today to identify you as an animal. So we say that there is a conference and there is a leader that wants to know who you are. And you answer that. You are flexible, you are a social person who love to live close to other person, you are very fast and very responsive. That is an answer that I like very much. It's very honest. And then you have a conference leader and he tells you, you're a mouse. You're a mouse. Because a mouse is small, fast, intelligent, and is really a survivor that likes to live in a group. Now you're going to have two problems. Because there will be others, maybe your friends, that they will compare them with a lion, with a dolphin, with a tiger, with an eagle that is strong and have things to get a very good position. And your unconscious, your inherited attitude we have from 1,000 years ago, that is, when we look at rats, we think that they are bad animals, and they did bring death and diseases to the people, and we have it still inside us here. So that means that the way the other going to look at you without thinking about it so much, that will nibble the edges of the way they look at you. But there is a bigger problem, that is that maybe you take that feeling directly and say, okay, I'm not so big, I'm small, and maybe you take a defensive position. If you're a lion, you will get the position directly, that you can speak, they will listen to you. So what can you do? You can be a good chameleon. You can learn how do we value different things, and then you can put you in that position. And then you say maybe to me, but isn't that cheating? No, it's not cheating. Identification is to compare yourself with somebody else. But of course you must compare yourself with something that is good. I know it's easy to do the opposite, but if you're smart, of course, if you use your brain in a good way of thinking, you compare yourself with something that is good. And that means that probably you will try to live up to that. And that means that you can grow and be as good as you can. So, I will finish the first part of the video here, and I will say that you are welcome back to the second part, where we're going to talk about feelings and behavior and legitimacy, that what rights you get depending on the identification you have. Okay, so see you later. Bye bye.